Hello and welcome to this week's Weekly Wind-Up with me, Helen Ashcroft. With me today is Neelam Heera, who recently set up a charity to support women with gynaecological issues and endocrine disorders. Now this charity is called Cysters and it's a women's support and awareness group. So welcome, Neelam.
Hey.
So, Cysters, I mean, I can honestly say I've never heard about it. So tell me a little bit more. Where's this come from?
It started off as just an awareness group and a peer-to-peer support group about 1.5 years ago. And that really derived from myself because I suffer with endocrine disorders, which obviously they affect my gynaecological health. So I suffer with PCOS.
I don't know what that is. I do apologise.
No, it's fine. It's polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Okay.
So your cysts have little follicles your ovaries, have follicles and cysts inside them.
Okay.
And that affects actually 1 in 4 women.
Does it?
Yes. So it's quite a high figure, and a lot of women suffer with that. Not only that, within the BME community, it's actually doubled for some reason, and it's not something we talk about so much because it's an embarrassing topic almost.
Right.
I also have quite a large ovarian cyst, which is about the size of a grapefruit on my left ovary. And I suffer with endometriosis as well. So that gives me very bad, painful periods and bad pain in general, really bad abdominal pain. That to the point where sometimes I've had to go into hospital. So I was told I have a high risk of having endometrial cancer at the age of 22, 23.
Right.
I didn't tell any of my family or my friends about it. It took me quite a long time to tell anyone.
Why was that?
Well, firstly, when I was told about this, I had no idea what endometrial cancer was.
Okay.
I'd never heard of it. I didn't even know where my endometrial lining was. I had no concept or real understanding of what was happening to me. I just knew my body was going into a state where I couldn't cope. You know, I thought I was going mad because I was in a lot of pain, but it was back and forth to the doctors who were telling me it's just a period, or it's just because you were late on your period, you've got a bit of extra pain this month. And I thought I was going mad. No one's ever told you what a bad period is or what a good period is. It's not something you get told. So you just, as a woman, you just grin and bear it because that's what we're taught to do, because we know it's going to be painful.
Yes.
But we're never told about the severity of the pain. But I felt something was wrong, and after researching and badgering my doctor, I was later told I had endometriosis, which is almost like a growth from my endometrial lining around the other organs. And they never actually explained this properly to me.
So there was no support offered at that time?
No. What they actually said to me is if it gets any worse, or if I'm planning to have children, I need to go back and see them.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm almost free to go.
Okay.
Which I was a bit sort of shocked at, because you're having the big C word put at you about cancer and you've got a high risk of it, but you're just being left. And they also said to me that in the future I need to look at maybe having a hysterectomy if it gets any worse. And I'm only 23 at this age, so a hysterectomy is life-changing.
At this point, you've had all this thrown at you.
Yeah.
You're trying then to deal with it yourself, because you've already said you didn't talk to your family about it. So what changed? Is this the point at which Cysters started?
I started looking into the issues, and I realised that some of the statistics for this are massively high. Endometriosis itself affects 1 in 10 women. That's a massive figure when you look at it.
So why aren't people talking about it?
I think my understanding from the research that I've done on setting this up is that women don't like coming forward and talking about it. Women don't like saying to their workplaces, their bosses, that this is what's going on down there.
Yes.
You know, it's down there. It's a taboo subject. We're not going to talk about this. Because we're women, we will just chin up and move on. But long-term, the health effect that it has on you and a mental effect that it has on you is quite catastrophic. So I started researching into the issues, and the NHS, whilst they're brilliant at what they do, they don't look at obviously alternative therapies.
Yes.
So I've also got, Cysters has a string of alternative experts who look at holistic therapy, acupuncture, Reiki, and also herbalists and dietitians to see if they can alleviate the pain, because the pain is actually the biggest problem that our women face.
You say that you offer the peer-to-peer support.
Yeah.
So how did you find the first person that's willing to talk about it, but also willing to support? How did that happen? And how has it grown?
it started on social media. So I opened a Twitter page just to talk about these issues. Aside from me talking them about it, I made Cysters talk about it as a completely separate thing.
Yes.
And people obviously have more trust talking to something that's like an organisation rather than a person sometimes. And because it's social media, you don't physically have to come forward sometimes. It generated a lot of debates and a lot of conversation. That got picked up. So I'm actually living in Birmingham now, and it got picked up quite a lot and quite substantially, that people are actually saying, actually, I've got this issue. And it grew wider into women with fibroids, women that have had gynecological cancers, womb cancer, ovarian cancer, cervical cancer, and to women that have had FGM.
Right.
I've had schools get in touch with me in terms of educating their younger children about menstrual health and what they can accept, because they don't do any of that.
No, they don't.
So it blew up really, because it's never been a subject that has been openly spoken about.
The people that are acting as peer support, have they been through the same sort of situation?
So how we do that is we have a monthly support group.
Right.
And women come, it's almost a round table support group with coffee, teas, biscuits, etc. And everyone giving their opinions and talking what they've gone through and helping each other along the process. What we've finally got for next year is we're going to have a gynae drop-in service.
Right.
It takes on average 7 to 10 years to be diagnosed. Yeah.
So long?
Yes, that's on average.
Why does it take so long?
Because I think there's partly our fault as women. We don't take ownership of our own health. So we are guilty of putting up with the pain, and we're putting up with the pain, and we're putting up with the pain. So we don't go to the doctors soon enough to get treated soon enough. I know plenty of women who have had children, etc., who have never really gone to the doctors about any of the pain they've had, but they've come to me as a woman who's talking about these issues.
So it is a sense of embarrassment when really there doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, isn't it? The fact that people are reserved, embarrassed, ashamed, I suppose. Is that one of the things? Women
are literally dying of embarrassment because with endometriosis, if it got worse, etc. I've got a woman in my group whose fallopian tube has erupted and sort of closed on itself because of the growths around it, leading her to have to go to hospital. There's women that have had symptoms of gynae cancers, such as ovarian cancer, but because they're scared, they've not gone to the doctors, leading things to be checked later when it could have been dealt with and sorted out possibly sooner.
I have to say, as you're talking, I had what they thought was a cancer scare 2 years ago.
Okay.
And it turned out to be an ovarian cyst, a growth. And mine was the size of a grapefruit, and they've taken away an ovary and the actual growth. But there was no support offered. There was nothing. And it was found by chance. I was actually away in Spain, had horrendous stomachache, and thought it was a urine infection. And that's when they did a scan and they found this mass.
Yeah.
And at that point, I thought my world was ending. Yeah. And I'd nobody to talk to. So at the moment, you're based in Birmingham.
Yes, we are.
But you do have, obviously, social media is worldwide.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody in this area, within the Kirklees area, that is worried or experiencing symptoms or just needs some reassurance, or perhaps has been through with any experience and wants to help, they can use the social media channels to get in touch.
They can get in touch with me. I'm really accessible via social media. We've got Facebook pages. We've got a website as well.
Right.
And I'm pretty accessible. I'm actually originally from Huddersfield, so I'm back and forth quite a bit anyway.
Okay.
And we are looking to spread our service across. It's almost like we're trialling it in Birmingham because I'm there. Trialling the gynae drop-in services and the peer-to-peer support, so we can actually get these accredited and rolled out to different parts of the countries. But we've got women in France and America that are part of Cysters as well, so it has got an international reach as well.
I mean, really, this should be run through the NHS.
It is. I mean, we have the support of the NHS, as they are aware of what we're doing. It's just that they don't have the time and the capacity to deal with the peer-to-peer support as we do. And this is what we want to do. They deal with the clinical side of things.
Yes. But not the emotional side.
No, and I think that's where it's lacking really, because as a woman to have these sort of issues, especially because it affects your chances of fertility as well, it's quite damaging. And on your mental health in itself, it's quite difficult for them. So we are trying to offer a counselling service as well, and trying to get some of these, because some of these women have gone through these issues and then they blame themselves.
Yes.
As women.
Is that for not picking it up, for not seeing it, or for the fact that they feel as though they've done something that's caused it?
Partly, but a lot of it is to do with the fact that as women, we have children. That is the one thing that we can do as opposed to a man. And if you can't have children or are struggling to conceive, they feel like less of a woman.
Yes.
And therefore, they struggle with their mental health because of that. And that is one thing that we found. A lot of our women in Cysters struggle a lot with their mental health and, you know, sort of low mood and depression because of these issues. And they've never been able to tell anybody before.
So you've actually given people the opportunity to forget about the shame, forget about the embarrassment, to actually speak with people that understand, that have been through it themselves, and that can offer the support and encouragement, if you like. And so to do that, just to reiterate, to do that, they can contact you through Twitter, Facebook, you have a website,
our email address, and we've got a number as well that they can call. And they can call me and speak to me about it. It's not a problem.
That's brilliant. Well, it's been a really interesting conversation, has this, from a personal point of view as well. So thank you ever so much for your time.
Thank you for sharing that.
No worries at all. So that's me, Helen Ashcroft, saying goodbye. Thank you for watching, and thank you to everyone behind the scenes who's made this show possible. Thank you. Bye-bye.